Some stories never see the light, but their echoes remain. Welcome to Whispers in the Shadows HQ. In the heart of America, nestled in the quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, stands a simple white farmhouse. From the outside, it looks like any other home, a relic of a bygone era. But within its walls, a century-old silence screams, and the echoes of a brutal, unsolved crime still reverberate through the halls. This is the story of the Villisca Axe Murder House, a place where a family's American dream turned into an enduring American nightmare. The date was June 10th, 1912. The Moore family, Josiah, Sarah, and their 4 children, Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul, had just returned from an evening at the Presbyterian church. With them were 2 young friends of the children, Lena and Ina Stillinger, who were staying for a sleepover. It was a typical Sunday night in a peaceful, close-knit community. Neighbors saw them walk home, lights were seen in the windows, and then darkness fell. But this was not the peaceful darkness of a sleeping town. It was the beginning of a horror that would haunt Villisca forever. The next morning, a neighbor, concerned that the Moore house was unusually still, knocked on the door. There was no answer. Peeking through a window, she saw nothing amiss, but the unnerving silence prompted her to call Josiah Moore's brother, Ross. When Ross Moore arrived, he unlocked the door and stepped into a scene of unimaginable carnage. In the downstairs bedroom, he found the bodies of Josiah and Sarah Moore. Upstairs, in the children's rooms, were the bodies of their 4 children and the 2 Stillinger girls. All 8 had been bludgeoned to death with an axe as they slept. The killer had moved systematically through the house, from room to room, extinguishing 8 lives in the dead of night. The investigation that followed was chaotic and ultimately fruitless. The crime scene was compromised almost immediately as hundreds of curious townspeople trampled through the house, touching everything and contaminating potential evidence. The murder weapon, an axe belonging to Josiah Moore, was found in the guest room, wiped clean of fingerprints but stained with blood. The killer had taken the time to cover the faces of all his victims with bedclothes. He had also covered every mirror and pane of glass in the house with cloth. A plate of uneaten food was found on the kitchen table, along with a bowl of bloody water. Who was this phantom killer, and why this brutal, methodical attack? Several suspects were identified over the years. There was Frank Jones, a local state senator and business rival of Josiah Moore. There was William Mansfield, a suspected serial killer who was implicated in similar axe murders across the country. And then there was Reverend George Kelly, a traveling minister who was known for his bizarre behavior and had a strange obsession with the murders. He even confessed at one point, but his confession was later retracted, and he was acquitted after 2 separate trials. Despite the suspects, the theories, and the accusations that tore the town apart, no one was ever convicted. The case grew cold, the files were shelved, and the mystery of who swung the axe that night was left to fade into local legend. The killer was never caught, but the echoes of that night, they never left. The house on East 2nd Street was sold, lived in and sold again, but no family ever stayed for long. Residents reported strange occurrences, the sound of children crying, disembodied voices, whispering in the dark, and the eerie feeling of being watched. By the 1990s, the house's reputation had solidified. It wasn't just the site of a historical crime, it was considered one of the most haunted locations in America. In 1994, it was purchased, restored to its 1912 condition, and opened to the public for tours and overnight stays, inviting the brave to spend a night with its permanent, unseen residents. And they have come. Paranormal investigators, thrill seekers, and the morbidly curious have all crossed its threshold, hoping to connect with the spirits that are said to linger. Their experiences paint a chilling picture of a house suspended in time, forever replaying its darkest hour. EMF readers, Devices that detect electromagnetic fields spike erratically in the children's bedrooms, often in response to direct questions. Investigators have captured dozens of electronic voice phenomena, or EVPs, clear, disembodied voices caught on digital recorders. A child's voice saying, "Get out," a whisper asking, "What's your name?" These are not just creaks and groans of an old house. They are intelligent, direct responses from an unseen world. Many guests who have stayed the night report similar unsettling events. One visitor recounted their experience. "We were trying to sleep in the parents' bedroom. Around 3 a.m., I heard footsteps in the attic right above us, clear as day. Heavy, deliberate steps back and forth, but nobody was there. The attic door was locked from our side. It went on for nearly an hour." The children's rooms seem to be the epicenter of the activity. Toys left on the floor have been found moved to different locations overnight. Balls roll across the floor on their own, seemingly pushed by an invisible hand. A guest staying in the room where the Stillinger girls were found said, "I woke up in the middle of the night because I heard what sounded like children's laughter. It wasn't scary, it was just there. It echoed through the rooms like a memory playing over and over." Shadows are another common phenomenon. Visitors often report seeing dark, human-shaped figures moving in their peripheral vision, darting out of doorways or standing at the end of hallways, only to vanish when they turn to look directly. One investigator's account is particularly chilling. "We had a camera set up at the end of the upstairs hall. As we were watching the monitor, a tall, dark shadow figure passed across the bedroom doorway. It didn't have any features, just a solid black mass in the shape of a person. It blocked the light from the room for a second, and then it was gone. Doors creak open and slam shut on their own. The old rocking chair in the parlor moves faintly, as if someone just stood up from it. Objects have been known to fall off shelves, and some people have even reported feeling a cold touch or a sudden, unexplained drop in temperature. It seems the Moore family and the Stillinger girls are still here, their spirits bound to the place where their lives were so violently taken. Some psychics and mediums who have visited the house claim the children's spirits are playful and curious, but that a darker, more menacing presence also lurks in the shadows. Perhaps the spirit of the killer himself, forever trapped at the scene of his horrific crime. For over a century, the story of the Villisca Axe murders has been a tale of crime, mystery, and profound sadness. It's a story about the fragility of life and the darkness that can descend upon an ordinary town without warning. The legal case may be closed, but the house itself keeps the investigation alive. It stands as a grim monument to 8 lost lives, its creaking floors and whispering walls a constant reminder that some questions are never answered and some wounds never heal. As dawn breaks over Villisca, the old white farmhouse on the corner grows still and silent once more. The paranormal activity seems to fade with the rising sun, giving way to the quiet of a new day. But as night falls again, the house awakens. The murders remain unsolved, but the house is never truly empty. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of America's most haunted crime scenes. If you found this story compelling, please like this video and subscribe to Whispers in the Shadows HQ for more explorations into the unknown. Stay curious and stay safe in the shadows.